Surviving a school shooting. It was 2006 and it was my freshman year at my town's public high school. I went to a small private Catholic grade school from K-8 with only about 25 kids in my grade, so it was a big change going from uniforms and 25 kids to public school with 1,000 kids. For students who were transferring into the public school system, there was a class just for us. I forget what it was called, but it was a bullshit class with no real curriculum. Again, it was to sort of just get the new people acquainted with the school, I guess. There were like 7 other kids in this class with me, and it ranged from other freshmen to juniors. School year started in September, fast forward to mid-December. On this particular day there was a new kid to the class who just transferred to the school and it was his first day. I already knew him cause our town is relatively small and he was always back and forth from the city to the town I lived in, and we were the same age, so we had mutual friends. When class ended I asked where his next class was and I offered to take him to where it was located at. To give you an idea of the school layout, it was really simple. It was a big square with 2 floors stacked on top of each other. So 3 large hallways, and then there was the science hallway that was skinnier than the others. They all connected in a square shape like I said. The bell rings and it's time to change classes. The hallways are filled with students shuffling to their next class. I'm talking to the new kid as I take him to his next classroom. We are walking down the science hallway. He passes me the sheet of paper that lists out his class schedule. I'm walking with my head down reading it. We're about 3/4 THs down the hallway, so I look up as I know we will be making a left turn shortly. At the end of this hall there is also an exit door that leads to the teacher parking lot. As I lift up my head and see the constant movement of groups of kids, there's one kid standing completely still. He was probably 15 yards in front of me, but I have to squint and take a double take at what I'm seeing because it just didn't make sense. This kid, chubby, wearing glasses, is holding an AK-style rifle in his hands. Within seconds I hear him yell, "Everybody get down," as he begins to fire into the ceiling. The hallways that were filled with laughs and everyday conversation went to complete silence, 1 second of complete silence, then to sudden screams and cries for help. I keep emphasizing that we were in the science hallway because this hallway was so thin, and to the left were large glass windows, and to my right were classrooms. Each shot was so loud that I thought the glass was going to shatter. Dust from the ceiling was falling over students as they began to scatter. Again, the shooter was directly in front of me as well as everyone else in the science hallway. I froze for a second and just decided to drop my backpack off my back, turn around, and run the direction that I came from. I will always remember running down the hallway, jumping over kids who fell, and also seeing my cousin who was also in the science hallway at that time, leaning against the glass windows just standing there completely frozen. I shouted at him to move and he did as I quickly ran past him. Running down the hallway felt like an eternity, and I remember bracing myself to feel a bullet hit me in the back, because all the shooter had to do was point his rifle straight ahead and he would have mowed down anyone in that hallway. The shots continued to ring with my back turned to him, and I thought to myself, I'm about to die. I made it to the end of the hallway and turned right, and then another immediate right to the stairwell. I jumped 1 flight of stairs, then the next, and next thing I knew I was on the bottom floor of the building. It was quiet. The hall was still filled with kids standing there completely still listening to what was happening upstairs. I was the first person to get to the bottom floor from upstairs, which surprised me, but most students decided to run back into classrooms. As everyone is standing around with a blank WTF look on their faces, I yelled down the hall, "Everyone needs to get out now." The exit doors were directly in front of me and I left and didn't turn back. I remember being paranoid as I ran across the school campus wondering if there were shooters outside too, and if this was coordinated or not. My imagination was running wild. Even outside I heard more gunshots from within the school. I could still hear screams too. I thought to myself, my friends are dying in there right now. I ran home. My parents were at work. My cell phone was in my bag that I left on the ground in the hallway. I went to a neighbor's house and eventually got in contact with my mom. As the hours passed we soon learned that no one was hurt that day, besides the shooter who turned the gun on himself once the police arrived. The police response was swift as the police station is located literally across the street from the school. The entire situation from the first shots to the shooter's death was probably 5 to 10 minutes. The story I've just written out happened in about 1 minute. I'd say it took me 45 seconds to get out of the building after the first shots rang out. I was 13.